The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to ACECRT's May webinar titled Secure Foundation, courtesy of Great-West Financial. We appreciate all of you taking the time to join us today. This webinar is part of our monthly webinar series, and today we'll be taking a look at Great-West SecureFoundation and how it may be an innovative strategy to your changing retirement priorities. A few housekeeping items before we get started. First, please note that in order to ensure everyone has the ability to hear the information presented by our speaker, everyone will be on mute during the webinar. During the presentation, feel free to write in any questions you have using the Q&A link on the webinar menu. Then at the end of the presentation, we'll take some time to go through these. With that said, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, John Abramson, Client Relationship Director of National Accounts at Great-West Financial. John's industry experience includes responding to participant inquiries about their 401k and stock option plans, retirement product development, product management, and team management. I'd like to thank John for joining us today, and with that said, John, I'll now turn it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Well, welcome all to our May participant webinar. Again, John Abramson. I'm coming to you from Denver, Colorado, where it snowed on Mother's Day and is 88 degrees today. So we're been all over the map as far as our weather goes here. But welcome to our Secure Foundation presentation. I do work for Great-West Retirement Services. The information we'll provide today is for general educational purposes only. I'm not able to give you specific financial, legal, or tax advice. For that kind of help, you want to obviously consult a financial planner, lawyer, or accountant. As we roll in, though, a couple of things for our agenda for the day today. We're going to start off talking about what retirement means, because that could mean different things for different people. Retirement income, what those things can work and how those can work for us. Some risks associated with retirement. And then we'll learn how Secure Foundation works and about Great-West Secure Foundation and the investment options available to you there. As far as who is Great-West, Great-West is Great-West Retirement Services is a division rather of Great-West Financial, specializing in servicing defined contribution retirement plans such as the ACEC Retirement Trust. We do represent about 4.9 million participant accounts as of March 31st, 2014. And continue to grow from there. We were chosen by the ACEC Retirement Trust to provide administrative education and communication services for participants in those participating plans. I think today one of the things that we hear an awful lot about are some of those generations, like Generation X, Generation Y, the greatest generation. I think each one of these age groups really has its own label. But the first generation to ever earn its first moniker was the baby boomer generation. And in 1964, baby boomers became one of the largest ever growing population surges. And that means that there were a lot of baby boomers out there. Then something odd happened. Those baby boomers grew up, they got jobs, they bought homes, they had their own kids, and then time passed, and now they're approaching retirement age. And I have to laugh when I think that the generation that coined the phrase, don't trust anyone over the age of 30, is now turning 60. So we need to address some concerns associated on that retirement piece. So what's the big deal associated with it? And why are the baby boomers in the news so much these days? Well, one of the reasons on this is the huge chunk of population as they're approaching retirement. Many of the experts out there are really getting concerned about the budgetary impact on programs such as Social Security and Medicare. I think the population of retirees will grow faster than the tax-paying full-time workforce that funds these programs. And that can cause some widespread suspicion that many boomers are financially unprepared for retirement. So if you're a boomer yourself, these issues can get very personal for you too. You're probably wondering how you're going to fund your retirement with the uncertainty surrounding Social Security. You're also probably looking for ways to increase your retirement income, and you're concerned about some of the expenses that you might face as you retire. When people think of retirement, they do tend to think of very different things, but some of them are expenses, right? Housing, healthcare, travel. The list can be very different. And I think the solution can come partially from Social Security, I suppose, as part of the answer. But pension benefits, if you're one of the lucky few with a traditional pension, that can help out as well. But we have a lot of different expenses that we're going to have to account for, and we're going to have to assess and prepare for as we look for that retirement. And I just saw a quote the other day from George Foreman, I think it was, that said, I'm not so much worried about the age I'm going to retire, I'm worried about the income that I'm going to retire at, right? And all these things become important for us there. So I think one that retirement is using that retirement savings and that 401k plans and those vehicles that we have saved up for us. But there are some challenges that associated with that we're going to face. Saving for our long-term retirement income, staying invested when the markets go up, and then retiring as planned. But that also means putting our savings at risk, and anyone who watched their retirement savings drop when the market fell, especially in 2008, kind of certainly can know the bad impacts that risk can have. And I think we all saw and felt that in varying levels over the last several years as well. Some of us may have to postpone that retirement or lower the expectations associated with retirement when the market turns at the wrong time, especially if it's something that you're approaching retirement or have just entered in retirement. So some of the retirement risks that are out there, and each person has a different retirement risk that can come up because each the way that we prepare for retirement can be very different. But the risks can tend to be very similar leading up to and throughout the retirement years. Sometimes it's easy to prepare for those risks and understand them, and sometimes it's not so easy. So we're going to seek to give you some awareness associated with some of them and looking at some of the pieces associated with that. So some of the risks that are out there, one of the big risks obviously is the market going down. And that can really affect your retirement income in different ways. You may have to reduce the amount of money that you can take from your retirement savings, or may need to delay retiring until your account values increase, and they may not recover at all. In addition, not taking advantage of rising markets is also a risk. And we saw a lot of people do was people that had taken money and went out of investment options in 2008 after the market crashed, and then all of a sudden as the market started to recover, weren't invested and weren't taking risks, and so they missed out on a rising market after that as well. And when you're invested too conservatively like that, you may run the risk of not having the value of your account keep up with inflation either. And investing too long can also be a risk. Living too long rather can be a risk. Planning for an unknown length of retirement can be hard for a lot of retirees, because hopefully we live several years in retirement, but as each of us know, we can't predict that date out. So some interesting statistics provided to us by the Social Security Administration that a man turning 65 today can expect to live on average until 83, and a woman turning 65 today can expect to live on average until age 85. Retirees are twice as likely to express concern about potential tax issues, but about longevity risk. The challenge getting to, I think, a lot of us consumers to be less concerned about the tax side of it and more concerned about the longevity risk, because taxes, we can't do a whole lot about it. But the longevity, we could do something about preparing for that longevity, and especially the longevity risk associated with it. And while longevity risk may not be a top list of retiree concerns, these figures do underscore the need to have adequate assets and plans for retirement that will last 20 to 30 years or potentially even longer. Without proper planning, many retirees that are concerned about being a burden to their children may end up setting themselves up to become that burden to their children. So one of the first steps associated with the financial planning is knowing how much retirement income that you'll need. And the studies seem to indicate that most financial advisors are suggesting that we need somewhere in the neighborhood of about 70% of your pre-tax earnings in order to comfortably maintain your pre-retirement standard of living. And for most people, Social Security will really only supply a fraction of that 70%. So we need to come up with those other resources. Now, some others have argued that that 70% can be way low. And one of the methodologies that were used initially about why 70% was people were suggesting that, well, you're not driving to work every day. You won't need the gas associated going in there. You don't need the clothes associated with going to the office every day, some of those pieces. At the same time, most retirees are still obviously driving around, still using up that gas, and still wearing clothes and doing those things too. So that certainly 70% may be low for a number of us, and we want to look at preparing with numbers associated that are higher than that 70% as well. But no matter how we fared in the market and whether we've saved a very little or a lot, you can still outlive your savings. You run the risk of having that longevity risk. And the longer we live, the greater that we have that chance, obviously. And Great-West Financial has come up with our new solution, which is Great-West SecureFoundation. And just a quick reminder here, the Great-West SecureFoundation guarantee is not available in New York and may not be available in all states. You need to check with Great-West representative for more information associated with that, too. So the SecureFoundation is offered in conjunction with an investment in the Great-West SecureFoundation Fund that helps you to build a foundation for a more secure retirement. It does offer a strategy for people who are not satisfied with the usual trade-off between protecting your retirement income and staying invested during those market periods of growth. But best of all, Secure Foundation does offer that retirement income for life with the comfort of knowing that you won't ever outlive your Social Secure Foundation retirement income. That's going to be one of the key components of the Secure Foundation model. And based upon some statistics that are central to the retirement planning process, Secure Foundation can be that solution that you've been looking for, where 46% of workers indicate they're very likely or somewhat likely to buy or choose a guaranteed income product. Only 33% of workers, though, report that either they or their spouse have a defined benefit with a current or former employer. And only 6% of workers are very confident the Social Security system will continue to provide benefits at least equal to the value received by the retirees today. So based upon those things, here's how kind of Secure Foundation works, or maybe an example of Secure Foundation works and how it affects the benefit base over time. It's very important, though, to not confuse the fund value, that's the part in blue there, with the benefit base. The benefit base is listed in brown here. So the fund value is the current value of each of the Secure Foundation fund held in your participant account, which will fluctuate with market conditions, whereas the benefit base is used to calculate the guaranteed lifetime income payments. It doesn't have any monetary value, and it is different from that fund value. Although the benefit base is related to fund value, and the benefit base will be adjusted up if the fund value is greater than the benefit base on the market anniversary date. So at other times during the year, the fund value may be higher or lower depending upon market performance and other factors associated with the fund. So this chart is for, again, for illustrative purposes only, kind of showing a hypothetical depiction of how the fund changes in value impacts the benefit base. So you see in this particular example here, in year one, that participant enters into the Secure Foundation. We got a market value in there, and you can see it right around year three there. We've got a little bit of a dip. That's maybe that market correction of 2008 or what have you, where the fund value goes down. But if you notice, there's an area in brown and gray there with a dotted line above it. That's that benefit base. So that participant had locked in at that benefit base back at the end of year two there, and so that held true even though their account balance went down. And even if the market would have never recovered for that participant, he would have been locked in at that benefit base. Over the next couple of years, then we see the market go up. We have our contributions that are coming into the fund as well, and it ticks up to get to that upside potential and that high water mark right up there as he goes in. And then shortly before retirement, all of a sudden we get a big market drop that takes the market down, but he's locked in up at that high mark. And then he begins retiring there in year 10. And at year 10, you're going to see as he starts to retire, we're going to see that fund value decrease slowly over time, and this is due to money coming out being used to fund his retirement. But the benefit base is going to remain exactly the same. So that's why we see that dotted line continue from there until he gets to retirement. Over time then, as we go through, eventually you see it in year 21 there, he runs out of money entirely. And once he's run out of money at that point in time is where he doesn't have it. But the Secure Foundation continues to pay. So here's that picture again, and you can see how the ratchet dates work together as well. So the benefit base is established with the first investment in the Secure Foundation fund during the accumulation phase. And then each Secure Foundation fund has its own benefit base, and that can't be transferred among Secure Foundation funds. And then during the ratchet date, during your accumulation phase, is the anniversary of the first contribution that would have established the benefit base. So each year, they looked at his different account balances there upon that anniversary date, and would ratchet it up if that was appropriate or hold it true. And then during the withdrawal phase, which we'll discuss in the next slide in more detail here, that ratchet date will change depending upon when they start taking out their withdrawals. But that ratchet date was established after that first benefit went off, and it went forward very easily there. The next shot over here is showing now as he starts to retire, and he's getting into that guaranteed annual withdrawal phase, so his payments are beginning now for him. But notice how the payments remain consistent there at the bottom. Those payments remain consistent even when the market value has declined. So you're seeing his fund dropping down, and yet that money remained available to him in a consistent pattern there. And even in this hypothetical situation, the participant then retired in year 10, which did trigger that guaranteed annual withdrawal phase, and the initial income payments began. That guaranteed annual withdrawal is the annualized withdrawal amount that is guaranteed for lifetime, or the lifetime of participants and their spouses for a joint withdrawal. As we mentioned in the previous slide, that ratchet date changes during this phase, and during that phase, the ratchet date is established on the first guaranteed annual withdrawal date, and each anniversary after that. It's important to note here that if any anniversary in the accumulation and guaranteed withdrawal phase is a non-business day, that it does go to the preceding business day for that year. So we've thought of all the different examples there. In this example here, the fund value drops due to market performance. If that happens, you do retain your previously locked higher benefit base, which maintains the established guaranteed withdrawal amount. And participants can still benefit from the positive market. So if the market were to go up, it is a possibility that you could have that upon if the market was higher on your ratchet date, you could have your annual payments increase as well. The advantage here is you've got money that you can't outlive, but at the same time you can still participate when the market goes down. But then as this participant goes through, eventually they've now depleted their entire account balance, and they've entered into the spot where their fund value has dropped down to zero. This is called the settlement phase. So this is the participant's retirement income continues at the same amount for the rest of their lives, even if they have outlived their entire balance, and their account balance has dropped down to zero in there. So in year 21 that happened, as we mentioned earlier, the fund value reaches that zero due to a couple of things. We had poor market conditions as well as withdrawals that went in there, but the benefit is basically going to remain the same. That is, this is known as the settlement phase, which is the time period when your guaranteed annual withdrawal benefit continues as a percentage of your benefit base. So it continues to be available, and it continues to pay out even though the account balance has dropped down to zero. So that's really where the benefit has it's got its benefit now. You can't outlive this money. It's going to continue to pay you on there. So that Secure Foundation Retirement Income Guarantee protects your retirement income even when the market goes down. Market decreases can decrease your Secure Foundation fund value, but it won't decrease your benefit base. So the amount that your payments are calculated off of will remain the same. With Secure Foundation, your retirement income gets locked in even if the market drops. This is important to you because this means you can retire knowing that you'll never outlive your income from your Great-West Secure Foundation fund. You'll keep on getting that regular retirement income in the guaranteed annual withdrawal phase, annual settlement phase. Now, one of the possibilities, one of the things to be aware of here, is that there is a possibility that you may never need the guarantee that Great-West Secure Foundation provides. For instance, if you were to pass away before you had depleted your account balance. So kind of keep that in mind, but your guaranteed annual withdrawals may never exhaust your Great-West value. However, Great-West Secure Foundation does provide you with the knowledge that you'll continue to receive retirement income even if that value is exhausted. Much the same way that I think of my homeowner's insurance policy, right? I'm buying that insurance policy. Most of us won't ever need it, but it's available to us if our house ever burns down and some of those things. So keep that in mind, and the payment that you're making to Secure Foundation is subject to the terms and conditions of the Great-West Secure Foundation contract and the claims paying ability of Great-West Life and Annuity Insurance Company. The Secure Foundation begins to address the retirement income risks when you reach your guaranteed trigger date, and that's the date that Secure Foundation fund begins, which is the date that you start to put money into the fund. That is the annual amount that the benefit fee is the annual amount that Great-West charges for the guarantee of the retirement income for life. This guarantee benefit begins on the trigger date and is paid through the redemption of the Secure Foundation funds or shares or unit. The current fee on that is 0.9% or 90 basis points, so just a little bit under 1% of the fund value. We do have the right to change that fee at any time. It cannot be higher than 1.5% of your account balance or lower than 1.5% of your fund value or lower than 0.7% of the fund value. So 1.5 to 0.7 being kind of that range that it can be in. Right now it's kind of in the middle there at 0.9%. The dollar amount of this fee will fluctuate depending upon your market value, and the fee obviously doesn't apply in the settlement phase because at that point in time there is no more money with which to pay things out, or to pay a fee from. So you'll be receiving money, but there are no fees associated with it. Now, the Secure Foundation Balance Fund is the fund that's available to you within the ACEC Retirement Trust, and that fund maintains a 60% stock and a 40% bond allocation of the underlying funds. With the first contribution to your fund, 100% of your fund value establishes your benefit base. So if you were to transfer money into that fund today for the very first time, it's going to set that benefit base. And if the market were to go down over the next week or two, you have that benefit base locked in and available to you right away. But do note one of the downsides to this one is that you do begin paying that benefit, or that guarantee benefit fund fee immediately. So if you put money in there, you're going to start paying that 0.9%. Again, that can range from that 0.7 to 1.5% that we talked about before, but you're going to start paying that fee right away, and that fee is paid by the redemption of the shares of the Secure Foundation Fund paid out on a monthly basis. So as always, you'll want to consider the investment risks, objectives, fees, and expenses carefully before investing. For this, any important information, you'll want to refer to the fund's prospectus and the Secure Foundation disclosure, which is available to you on the participant website or by calling our 800 number. You want to make sure you read them very carefully before investing or sending money to us, obviously. So really, as we start to wrap things up here, the Great-West Secure Foundation might be an innovative solution for your changing retirement priorities. We really created the Secure Foundation because of the need that we've seen in participants to have that protection, that downside protection, also the longevity protection, and some of those pieces. Because really, at the end of the day, retirement income is so important to all of us, and that's why it's important to us. A couple of ways here to add Secure Foundation as an investment in your lineup. You can either do it on the enrollment kit or by accessing the account website, your participant website, and going in and clicking on investment options. That's certainly where you can go in and transfer money into it as well. Or you can certainly call our 800 number in order to speak with the representative there and help out on those things. So that wraps up our quick look at Great-West Secure Foundation.
I'd like to take a minute to let everyone know that you can stay up to date on the latest retirement plan news and events via ACECRT's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages, and the links are all up there on the screen, as well as the ACECRT website at www.acecrt.com. In addition, this webinar is recorded, and the replay will be posted on the ACECRT website on the Education Center, as well as the ACECRT YouTube page within 10 business days. I thank you all for joining us today. And once again, John, I would really like to thank you for taking the time to present today.
Yep, thank you all for your time.
This now concludes the webinar. Thank you.